Well, welcome to another little weekend away. I'm in the town of Henley-on-Thames in Oxfordshire, a very small town right on the River Thames, obviously. And I'm here to have a look around. I've got a night in a very nice boutique hotel. So this will be the first time. It's the first time I've been here. So I'll be interested to see what this little town's like. It's famous for its annual regatta, as you can tell from the sign there, regatta line. But see what else there is in this town. So let's head to the hotel. So Henley-on-Thames is in the county of Oxfordshire, one of the most English of all English counties. It has a population of about 12,000. It's a very much a still traditional kind of medieval market town. Being on the Thames, is completely dominated by the river and all things boating and obviously rowing, especially with the annual Henley Regatta. It's a very affluent town, as you'll see as we go through the town. It's also very quiet, very quaint. It's very much most people's, especially Americans, idea of what a small English town is really like. Obviously, the river is full of the sea life, the river life of the ducks and the swans. The mute swans being owned by the Queen, but it's a very pleasant, quiet town, very genteel, very sort of relaxed and unrushed. So I'm staying at the Relais Hotel, which is right on the banks of the River Thames, known locally as a Red Lion, as is our name. You can see by the statue on the doorway. It's a very peaceful, very traditional looking, very Victorian looking building on the inside, with a Dominic Chapman restaurant, a little salon where you can relax, and a small garden outside for dining. Um, my room was on the first floor in an older part of the hotel. It was wasn't a huge room at all, but it was just big enough. A very traditional look with very beautiful four-poster bed, really nice warm carpeting. The view outside the window on this side, it was just the church, but on the other side there are some rooms that actually look onto the river. So if you're coming for the Henry Regatta, expect to pay an absolute premium for those rooms. I was quoted about £1,000 a night during the regatta week. Bathroom, very modern, but not looking too modern. It's got marble effect walls and floors. The floors were heated. There was no bath, but everything was new and clean and fresh, and it was just very pleasant. Obviously, there were also tea and coffee available on hand, and they actually left me these absolutely lovely chocolates, which I cleared up in seconds. So I went out for a very pleasant mid-afternoon walk. It was really hot this day, in the early 20s, which is kind of insane, not just for England in general, but for England in April. As you can see, the town is a mixture of architecture, but it still does have actual medieval buildings, from not just from the Tudor period, but from earlier. As just see later on, there was at least one building which is 700 years old. The old market square, is now used pretty much for dining. I don't know if there's any market stores that are used, but it's still lined with restaurants and cafes and pubs, and both big chain like Pizza Express, all small independents. And it's very busy, very bustling. It felt a lot more hectic than my hometown, and just a very nice place to be in general. Then of course there's the riverfront, which this is where the town really earns its keep. Across the river you can see there's the setting up all the marquees and the seating for what's initially going to be the regatta, but then also a music festival that follows on pretty much straight after. And obviously these boats, a lot of these can be hired there. A lot of them are owned by the same people that can be taken on tours up and down the river, piloted, as far as you can go really. And on a day like this, it would have been great to get on the river, but I didn't have much time to spend in the town, so I just stayed on terra firma. But here's one of the best pubs, one of the best locations you can possibly imagine. Absolutely fantastic. And then I had a brief snack in this delightful cafe, which served me just fantastic raspberry jam donut and just a great latte. Well, it is a lovely day here in Henley. My phone said it's 22 degrees outside. And it's absolutely beautiful. I can feel it through my jeans. I'm wearing these shorts. I didn't realise it was going to be so hot. My fault for not checking the weather forecast. But I'll just have a wander around town. It's a very pretty little town. Still a kind of market town. Still maintains some of its medieval charm. There's some genuine medieval half-timber buildings, as well as some of the Victorian imitation ones. It's a really pleasant town. So we'll be here for the rest of the night. We're going to have dinner in the hotel, and then I'll have a wander around. There seems to be some quite nice pubs, including a really big Wetherspoons, one of the big ones I've seen. So looking forward to that. So if you have a good night, and hopefully the weather will hold up. Obviously there's the parish church, which is still the biggest landmark in the town, but one of the most important places to come to in Henley is this place, Hobbs of Henley, which is a company that owns a lot of the moorings on the riverfront and hires out a lot of the boats. So if you ever want to go for a river tour, they're pretty much the people to go to. They've been running these boat services apparently for a couple of 100 years. So this is a family that's really embedded within the sort of the history and the culture and the tourism of the town. Obviously, this park as well is one of probably the best place to be on a day like this. And obviously, as it was the first really hot day of the year, I needed to get myself the double cone with a flake. And then we even had dinner at the hotel. Started off with a paprika squid, a bavette steak, which was absolutely unbelievably delicious, and a sticky toffee pudding. Absolutely wonderful food in the hotel, followed by a visit to a couple of pubs, the local Wetherspoons, and this, the Old Bell, in a building that was celebrating its 700th year. Really low beams and just a really warm, comfortable atmosphere. And then in the morning, I soaked everything up with an incredible full English breakfast. Then in the morning, I headed to the Henley River and Rowing Museum, dedicated to exactly what it is. But here, they've got two special exhibitions. One is an exhibition dedicated to the great children's novel, The Wind in the Willows, which is partly based on the experiences that Kenneth Grahame, the author, had living in the local area, and the stories that he used to tell his child. So if you love that, one of the greatest novels, not just children's novels, but one of the greatest novels of all time, then this is a great exhibition to come to. Me personally, I've never read the book, but when I was a kid, I absolutely loved the TV show that was on the BBC, the stop motion animation show. It's one of the best television shows I've ever saw as a child. So this was a great reminder of some of the great little plots that happen in the novel, and what an enjoyable story it really is. It's absolutely delightful exhibition with a bit of animatronics, lots of music playing, and just a really nice reminder of what an incredible novel The Wind in the Willows really is. There's also this fantastic little exhibition called the Space Vault, which is articles from one of the largest space collections in the UK, genuine articles from different space missions. Various uniforms, bits of equipment, even the debriefing notes from the Apollo 13 mission that nearly was a disaster, and actual, I say, suits and sort of components from some of the actual spacecraft. But then the museum goes into its big section, the history of rowing, not just sports rowing, but rowing in general. From the days of the ancient Greeks and Romans, to some of the Cornish fishermen and rescue workers on the sea, all the way into sort of modern high-tech sports rowing. So if obviously if you come into Henley, you're probably going to want to see something about rowing, and this really is a fantastic place to come. Obviously, the perfect theme. But there's also an exhibition specifically about the town and its interesting history. So, what's Henley like? It's very pleasant, very quaint, very picturesque, and just a lovely place to come to for a night or two. Obviously, it can be a place to stay for other visits, but also just great to be in for a nice bit of relaxation.